As is always the case here in Washington, winter has come late for us. Or rather, what feels late, because it is the middle of February and we've only just had our first snow. But unlike many who long for warmer days and hot sun, I welcome this chance to be indoors, where the fire is warm and I can make my surroundings as cozy as I like and pursue the art of slowing down. It is in these days that I have found myself most inspired. Instead of feeling trapped indoors by the harsh weather, I find that I am enjoying this time to make my surroundings reflect what I love most. Taking inspiration from romanticizing life, I've begun to add more touches of things that make me feel happy. Decorating with floral abandon, adding twinkle lights and garlands, and in general, pursuing a home that feels as cozy as the burrows in a brambly hedge. So make yourself a cup of tea and join me as I share what I am doing to make this midwinter cozier, more beautiful, and more fulfilling through homemade touches and the pursuit of a romantic February. Well, hello friends. So I know that I said I was not going to post in February, I wasn't going to film in February, but it always happens that as soon as I give myself time to just take a break and not have to do anything, that's when I'm the most inspired. I realized that I was just really enjoying February and I was enjoying this pursuit of being creative and putting together creative things without feeling like I had to post or I had to get it done in a certain time frame. And one of the things that I realized I really want to talk more about on my channel, because I am in the process of publishing a novel, I want to talk more about the books that I love to read. So we're gonna introduce book chats and I hope you enjoy it. I have a big stack of books to talk about. I already filmed this section once and it was way too long to put in this video, so if you want to see the original version that I filmed, go over to my channel, members. I'm just gonna put that whole video up. It's about 20 minutes of just talking about books, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just gonna pick my top few favorites that I read last month and then the top few that I'm looking forward to reading this month or that I'm already reading this month. So let's get into it. First, I'm gonna start with the single physical book that I finished last month, which was The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter, and I really enjoyed this. This is really fun if you like Agatha Christie novels, if you like Poirot maybe. It's a more modern whodunit. If you liked Knives Out, that's a actually really good comparison to this. It's a little bit comedic, it's a little bit romantic, it's a whole lot mystery, and I really enjoyed it. I like the writing a lot. I read this book in 2 days. I literally read it. I think this was my quickest read of the month. And I use an app on my phone called Bookamory to track my reading progress. Kind of light goal this year is to read every day. It's really satisfying to see that my month of January is full. I read every day that month, even if it was only for 5 or 10 minutes. Bookamory tracks how long it takes you to read a book, and this one took me 2.5 hours. It was the quickest I've read a book in a very long time, so it's really, really good if you want a lighthearted whodunit. It's not like gory or anything like that, but it's really well written. And then the rest of the books that I finished were on my Kindle app, and I finally broke down and actually bought myself a Kindle because I read through the Kindle app so much, but I'm always really tempted to check my social media, and I didn't want to do that. And so far I'm really enjoying it. Ooh, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that. There we go. The next book that I read is called Earl's Trip. This was really fun. This is a friends to lovers, and they don't know they're in love, which is my favorite thing, when they don't know they're in love and they haven't figured it out yet, but you know, and it's really well done. Just really well written, well-rounded characters, friends to lovers, romance, and it is a Regency era book, which I know is really popular right now. So if you enjoyed Bridgerton, you will like Earl's Trip. I could not put it down. It was such a fun read, and I wish the next one was out because I want to read it so badly. And then the other one that I finished in January that I want to talk about is called Mr. Pickwick's Guide to Marriageable Young Ladies. And this is really, really good if you love, I would say, Jane Austen and you want somebody modern to read. Definitely recommend. This is the second one that I've read by this author. The other one was Mr. Salisbury's Guide to, I don't remember the name of it. I'll put it up here. I read that one first, loved it, absolutely loved it, and then found this one. And I think this author has more books out, so I'm probably going to add those to my to be read. I have a very long to be read. But those are the 3 that I enjoyed the most in January. I did actually finish, I think, 5 books in January, but those were my top 3, and I do have others that I want to talk about that I did talk about in the original filming of this, but if you want to see like what they are beforehand, you can go to my channel memberships. Don't feel obligated, it's just there if you want to. Let's get into the books that I am hoping to finish or am reading in February. And you will notice this about all of my book chats, is that the majority of my books probably are from book of the month if they are physical books, because I have a subscription that I've had for years and years and years and years. They have never sponsored me. I just love books, and I do have like a referral code if you want to use it. I'll put it in my description. You don't have to. Again, they're not sponsoring me, but almost all of my physical books are from book of the month. The first one I'm really looking forward to finishing is called The Husbands, and this woman comes home and realizes that every time her husband, and I don't think she started out married in the beginning of the book. I've read a very tiny bit of it. She comes home and realizes that every time her husband goes up in the attic, he comes down as a completely different person, and her house changes. And so then it becomes like, okay, well, how many times do I send this person back? And what if I actually really like the guy that comes down? Like, what then? And so I've read a little bit of it, but it's just such an interesting premise to me. By the way, you can hear my family out there. It's the weekend, so. Then this one I have not started, but I saw this and it's called The Love of My Afterlife, and I believe the premise is that she has died and she's a ghost, and then she finds the love of her life and he's still alive, and so she has to fulfill some sort of set of rules in order to return to real life and get him to fall in love with her before the time runs out. It feels a little bit fairy tale. I don't know anything about this book other than I thought it was an interesting premise, and the cover is very cute. The last physical book that I'm hoping to read this month is called First Time Caller, and it is about a disillusioned radio host who hosts like a romance or matchmaking show on the radio, and then of course she is looking for love, and obviously they're probably gonna fall in love in the end, but that's all I know about it. Again, This was the book of the month, and if you don't know how it works, essentially you have 5 to 7 books to pick from. If you don't like any of those, you can choose from the past month or the member favorites, or you can skip the month. And so this was one of the books of the month, and then I added on this one because you can choose an add-on after you pick a book of the month, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous because I don't think I've had a failed book of the month book yet. So if that's your thing, feel free to go down in the description. I have had book of the month since 2019, so 6 years. If that doesn't tell you that I really love them, then I don't know what. They also have audiobooks now. So if you're more into audiobooks and you want somebody else to do the work for you and then you can just pick a good one, you can subscribe to audiobooks with Book of the Month. So the first book on my Kindle that I'm hoping to finish is called Ne'er-Do-Well. I'm actually 30% through this, and this is like she's trying to find him a wife, but of course the woman he likes is her. I'm really enjoying it so far. Last night I literally almost dropped the Kindle because I was falling asleep reading it because I didn't want to put it down. So, and then I think the other one that I'm going to do my best to finish this month, it is called The Murder in Highbury, and it is a Jane Austen, I want to call it a fanfic, but that's not it. Spin-off, I guess. It's about Emma. And so I'm really excited. It's an Emma Knightley mystery. I really like all of the spin-offs and the fanfictions and whatever books I've read that have been like adjacent to Jane Austen, I've loved. So those are all the books that I'm hoping to finish this month. And then, of course, I'm hoping to finish editing my own book. And I'm hoping next month I can reveal the cover to all of you. Some of you may know that it was originally called The Devil of Calhoun. However, I'm changing the title for very good reason, which I will announce when I share the cover. But just know that it is a Scottish Highlands romance set in the 1700s, and a lot of people have said it's a mix of Beauty and the Beast, Called the Midwife, and Outlander. So if you like any of those, stay tuned, because I'm going to publish a book this year and I cannot wait to announce it. Anyway, let's get into the rest of this video. I want to share some of the things that I have been doing to recover from burnout, some of the ways that I have been inspired this month, maybe some ideas for you for romanticizing your life a little bit more, and in general, just learning to pursue creativity without having to be perfect. It's all about learning to have a little grace with myself. And hopefully all of you will feel like you can give yourselves a little bit of grace after this video, so let's get into it. One of the ways that I have been trying to romanticize life a little bit more is to do everything as beautifully as I can. Lately, I discovered another creator here called Haley Post, and she made a video about romanticizing February, and in it, she sent one of her good friends a blind date with a book. I loved this idea so much, and I have seen it here and there on the internet before I discovered Haley, but the way that she wrapped her book was so special, so I thought that I would do the same. Haley's video will be linked down below if you want to learn how to wrap the book properly, but the way that she wrapped it was to create pockets in the front so that you can then add little gifts inside. Essentially, you press the top of the paper down towards the middle of the book and then wrap each little flap over, and you will have 4 little pockets on the front of your book. I think this is so clever and so pretty. Of course, I decided to wrap my book with some strawberry wrapping paper that I found recently, but Haley used brown paper, which I also think is really beautiful. I tucked in some hot chocolate, and for another friend I am adding some tea and stickers, and I added a bookmark and also some dried flowers, and then I decorated it with a bunch of hearts because I did this before Valentine's Day. It turned out so cute, and now I just want to send all of my friends a little blind date with a book in the mail, wrapped up with pretty paper and a bow. In the past years, when the season has felt really long and dark, I have felt myself really giving in to the darkness as well and holding up like a little animal in a burrow waiting for the winter to be over. But this year, I decided to take control of my environment and make my home beautiful, even if it's just the small things. This wall in the dining room has been green for a really long time, so I finally decided to take the jump and start wallpapering the dining room. Even though I can only do the one wall right now, I am so happy with how it has turned out. This pink wallpaper is so beautiful and textured, and I can't wait to do the rest of the room. It just made everything so much brighter and so much prettier. But beyond that, I have been trying to slowly replace the things that I own with things that are beautiful, like this pink iron that I purchased recently. In the Victorian era, nearly everything was beautiful and ornate, even if it was small, and I love the concept of making mundane things pretty. It makes everyday tasks so much more enjoyable to have something beautiful to look at and use. I cannot recommend doing this enough, especially if you are a homemaker who struggles with doing certain tasks. It really is the little things that make the biggest difference. When I was a child, I refused to like pink because all of the little girls liked pink and I wanted to be different. Now as an adult, I find that I embrace the color more and more, and my home has become a very feminine home with a lot of pink. I have begun to embrace my love of all things feminine unabashedly, and it just makes me happy to see my home come alive with the things that I love. The majority of my decorating in this video was gearing towards a tea party that I planned with our neighbors. And so, of course, I had to make a few little crafty things for Valentine's Day, including this really cute and simple letter garland. After I hung the heart-shaped garland that I found at the store, I wanted to make more, and they're so easy to make. I will link the tutorial below, but essentially you cut out a little rectangle with a triangle on top out of white felt, and then fold it over and glue on a red or a pink heart. In the original tutorial, she has you glue these letters onto whatever garland you're going to put them on, but I decided to fold them over with enough space to then thread the string through. I thought it would be easier and a little more sturdy, and it worked really well. Making this garland had me wanting to make one for every month, and I think it would be so cute to change them out for the month or the season. I had a lot of felt left over from this project, so I decided to make a secondary garland of the letters that might have been found in those envelopes. I did this by cutting one white piece of felt into 4 equally sized strips and then cutting each strip into 4 equally sized rectangles. Then I took a marker and I scribbled some little writing on them and tied a red bow to glue to the top of each letter. I folded the back of the letter over to make a channel for the thread to go through, and that was it. This is such an easy project and would be especially great if you have kids who love to get involved. It turns out so cute and I'm so happy with it. I can't wait to experiment with more garland making for other seasons and see what kinds of things I can come up with to hang around the house. As a mom, one of the things I struggle with the most is enjoying the process of baking or cooking. Often it is done in a time of chaos when everyone is hungry and the little kids are hanging around my feet. But I've realized that I do enjoy cooking, maybe just not in the moments of chaos. So lately I have been trying to take the time to bake in a way that I enjoy, or to cook a meal that is simple but pretty, because I deserve that too. And this, I hope, serves as a reminder to any caretaker or parent out there to take care of yourself and do things just for your own enjoyment. I didn't have to make heart-shaped biscuits. I didn't have to use a heart-shaped Dutch oven, but those things bring me joy. And I think that's one of the most important things in life, is to pursue things that bring joy. The egg recipe was really simple and is now one of my favorite ways to make eggs. It is a 1/4 cup of marinara or other tomato sauce, whatever you enjoy, into the bottom of a miniature dish or Dutch oven if you find one, and then 1 or 2 eggs depending on your preference, with salt and pepper and whatever herbs you would like to put on there. I put in basil, but I think this would also be good with oregano or dill or rosemary. It takes about 15 minutes in the oven, and it's so quick and simple and nourishing. I have found myself making this quite a few times after I filmed it because it was so good. I sing softly to myself. A few months ago, my son stayed home from school to help me around the house and cook for a holiday. And I made it a point to create a special meal routine because he was home. He then asked me later if that was what I did every day, to eat a fancy meal when everyone was gone. And he seemed very surprised when I answered no. That reminded me that it's okay to take time for myself. Even in a day when I am mostly alone and only have one little one wandering around with me, I feel as though I have to always be busy and productive, and I can't just slow down and take time to breathe and to nourish myself and to pour into the cup that I am always emptying, pouring into everyone else. So I decided to make myself this brunch, take care of myself, make it feel extra special to eat nourishing foods, and just enjoy the process of baking and setting the table and making things beautiful just for myself. I sing this softly to myself. I sing this softly to myself. I used to save all of my beautiful things for a special day, a special occasion, but lately I have been getting out the prettiest things that I own to use, even when all I am doing is sitting to rest. Learning to rest has not been easy for me, and I am not very good at it. But these days I am purposefully slowing down, and setting up a pretty little tea tray like this really helps me to be more mindful of slowing down. One of my favorite activities in the winter now, ever since I have learned to crochet, is to find new things to make. And I came across this strawberry heart granny square pattern from Whimsy and Wool, so of course I had to make it. I plan to just make a few as coasters for around the house, and I have to admit I'm still not very good at crocheting. I am still a beginner, and I made a lot of mistakes while I was making this pattern. I think that has been the biggest lesson I've learned over my break, is to just create even if it's not going to turn out well. Because I've always had the tendency to want to either be perfect at everything or just not do it. This little coaster has its flaws, but I've learned from them, and the next one I make will probably be better. If you want to support Whimsy and Wool, they will be linked down below. And finally, I wanted to share with you the setup that I made for our Valentine's Day tea party with our neighbors. I started in the living room with a few decorations. If I'm honest, I'm never quite sure how to set up the mantle for decor because it is so wide. So I've tried to keep it simple with my usual rainbow array of vintage books on the mantle, and then a few garlands and decorating the Hobbit door. On the couches, I added some blankets that I've already owned and one new one, but over the cozy blankets that are already there because it is still very cold and we use these blankets daily when we are winding down in the evening. Sometimes it is as simple as changing out a blanket or a pillow to make things feel refreshed and new, and I love how this turned out even though all I really did was replace the blankets. When I was a little girl and up into my teen years, my mom and my aunt used to throw tea parties for myself and all of my girl cousins. On Valentine's Day, we would all get together and exchange Valentines and just celebrate being together and our friendship and family. And it's one of my favorite memories. My aunt has since passed away from cancer, and I have been wanting to keep this memory alive, so I finally decided to put together a tea party for my kids and my neighbors' daughters. They are some of our best friends, and my girls are best friends with their girls, so it was the perfect opportunity to get out everything pretty that I've kept tucked away in my grandma's china cabinet and set up a tea party just like my mom and my aunt used to do. I miss my mom dearly ever since she moved away to Idaho, and I miss my aunt too ever since she passed away. So this was a really lovely and healing way to keep the memory alive and the tradition going. And that is it for this video. I have really enjoyed creating this, and I hope that you have found a few little ideas to romanticize life and to slow down and to be more intentional about your home. As always, I hope that wherever you are feeling safe and loved, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!